thrive in the chaos. How to stay positive in a negative work environment. Produced by the School of Self-Development. What you'll learn in this audiobook. How to stay calm and positive when everyone else is negative. How to protect your energy from toxic coworkers and bad bosses. How to stop absorbing stress, gossip, and drama. How to find purpose in a job you don't love. How to build emotional resilience and mental freedom. And when it's time to stay and grow, or time to walk away strong. Introduction. The storm around you. You don't need a perfect job to have a powerful mindset. In fact, the real test of your inner strength isn't how positive you are on vacation or when everyone's cheering you on. It's how grounded, calm, and empowered you remain when the atmosphere around you is filled with stress, pressure, and negativity. That's what this audiobook is about. Becoming immune to the poison without becoming bitter yourself. You might be feeling stuck right now, surrounded by coworkers who complain about everything, managers who drain your spirit, or a workplace culture that seems to reward mediocrity and punish growth. Maybe you're working a job that pays the bills but doesn't feed your soul. Or worse, you feel like your confidence is slowly being chipped away by the energy around you. But what if I told you this? You can transform your mindset without needing to change your job. You can create peace without needing everyone else to behave. You can build emotional strength right in the middle of chaos. And when you do, not only do you feel better, you start to perform better, think clearer, rise higher, and lead without the title. In a world where most people react, complain, and break down, you will rise, respond, and break through. The real problem isn't the job, it's the emotional residue. Let's be honest, most jobs come with challenges. Every workplace has its own version of chaos. But the real problem isn't always the job itself, it's the emotional toll, the mental residue that follows you home. You clock out, but the stress doesn't. You walk away from your desk, but the weight stays on your shoulders. Negativity at work is sticky. It clings to your mood. It leaks into your relationships. It distorts your confidence. You start waking up with dread. You stop believing in your potential. And eventually, you either snap or shut down. But what if you learned how to clean that residue from your mindset before it ever sticks? What if you could finish each workday with your energy still intact, maybe even stronger than when you started? That's not fantasy, that's a skill, and you're about to learn it. The shift begins with you. There's a phrase you'll hear often in this audiobook. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Thermometers just reflect the environment. They rise and fall with the temperature around them. But thermostats, they set the temperature. They lead the room. They don't react. They regulate. That's who you'll become. Through this audiobook, you'll develop emotional tools, mindset shifts, and real-life practices that allow you to thrive in the worst environments. You'll become someone who radiates calm while others panic, someone who focuses while others gossip, someone who grows while others rot in resentment. And if you do decide to leave your job one day, you'll do it not because you couldn't take it anymore, but because you're ready for more. Who this is for. If you work in a toxic environment and feel your energy draining, if you're around constant gossip, complaints, or unmotivated people, if your manager is difficult or emotionally unstable, if your work feels like a soul-sucking loop, if you want to stay positive, but everything around you makes it hard, then this audiobook is for you. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are not powerless. You just need the right mindset tools, clarity, and emotional strategies to take your power back. And that's exactly what you'll find here. How this audiobook is structured. Each chapter in this audiobook is designed to be both insightful and actionable. We're not here for fluffy feel-good slogans. You'll get real strategies, real psychology, and real results. Each chapter builds on the next. You'll first become aware of the problem. Then, you'll learn how to separate yourself from it. And finally, you'll learn how to lead your own mindset and influence the environment around you. By the end of this audiobook, you'll be able to walk into a toxic room and keep your peace, identify emotional triggers, and stay calm. Focus on your growth, not the gossip. Use every challenge to build resilience and turn your workplace into your training ground for greatness. You're not just going to survive your work environment, you're going to transform because of it. And if you ever needed a reminder, the chaos around you doesn't have the final say. You do. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Recognizing the signs of a toxic environment. Awareness is power. Before you can rise above the negativity of your environment, you first have to understand it. You can't fix what you won't face, and you can't defend yourself from what you can't see. That's why the first chapter in this journey is about awareness, becoming fully conscious of what a toxic workplace looks, sounds, and feels like. Because the moment you see the game clearly, you stop being a pawn. Toxic doesn't always mean obvious. When people hear toxic work environment, they often picture aggressive yelling, office drama, or physical intimidation. But toxicity doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it shows up in small, subtle ways that wear you down without you even realizing it. In fact, some of the most harmful environments are the quiet ones, where there's no support, no encouragement, and no sense of purpose. A place where people come to collect paychecks, not to grow, thrive, or contribute. Toxicity in the workplace is a spiritual sickness. It's a loss of meaning, a decay of culture. It's not just what's happening around you, it's what stops happening inside of you. Let's break down the warning signs so you can identify them clearly. Red flags of a toxic environment. 1. Chronic negativity. Every conversation seems to revolve around problems, complaints, or gossip. Optimism is mocked. Positive people are seen as naive. There's a general air of sarcasm, doom, or resignation. This place will never change. Why even bother trying? Just do the bare minimum and go home. Negativity isn't just contagious, it's cultural. And once it becomes the default setting, it shapes how people think, act, and interact. 2. Micromanagement and control. You're not trusted to make decisions. Every move is questioned. Creativity is crushed before it can even form. Instead of being empowered, you're treated like a child with a checklist. This creates an environment of fear, not freedom. People stop thinking and start complying. And that kills morale faster than any memo ever could. 3. Lack of recognition. No matter how hard you work, you feel invisible. There's little to no appreciation. Your contributions are either taken for granted or taken by someone else. Over time, this causes internal resignation. You stop caring, you stop trying. Not because you're lazy, but because you're tired of giving your best and getting nothing in return. 4. Gossip over growth. Instead of learning, collaborating, or leveling up, the dominant activity is talking about other people. Gossip replaces ambition. Jealousy replaces teamwork. This is one of the most subtle and dangerous poisons in any workplace. It erodes trust and promotes insecurity. If people bond more over rumors than results, that's a problem. 5. Us versus them mentality. There's a constant divide between management and employees. You feel like a number, not a person. Decisions are made behind closed doors, with no transparency or care. This disconnect leads to resentment. People don't feel part of a mission. They feel like they're on the wrong side of a power dynamic. 6. Emotional exhaustion. You go home more mentally drained than physically tired. Your body might be okay, but your spirit feels crushed. You find yourself dreading Mondays and celebrating Fridays, not with joy, but with relief. Your energy is your most valuable asset, and if your workplace is draining it daily, that's a red flag. The hidden cost of staying numb. Many people don't leave toxic environments. They adapt to them. They build emotional armor. They become sarcastic, apathetic, or passive just to survive. But here's the danger. What you tolerate externally starts to shape you internally. If you spend too long pretending not to care, eventually, you actually stop caring. If you keep laughing off dysfunction as just the way it is, eventually, you lose your standard for what's healthy and what's not. And if you stop noticing the toxicity, you become part of it. That's why awareness is the first step. Not to judge, not to complain, but to wake up. Reflection exercise. Is it the job or the environment? Take a moment to ask yourself these 5 questions. How do I feel on Sunday nights before work? Do I feel energized or drained when I clock out? Can I be myself at work, or am I constantly on edge? Do I feel supported, seen, or encouraged by anyone here? Is this job growing me or shrinking me? If most of your answers lean towards stress, fear, or disconnection, you may be in a toxic environment. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. But now that you see it clearly, you get to make new choices. Key lesson: the power of naming. There's a psychological principle called labeling. The act of naming a problem reduces its emotional power over you. When you can say, "This isn't me, this is the environment. This anxiety isn't mine. It's being generated by the culture here. I'm not broken. I'm just responding to a broken atmosphere." You reclaim your power. You stop internalizing the problem and start observing it objectively. Awareness separates your identity from your environment, and that separation gives you space to grow. Final thought for Chapter 1. You cannot change what you tolerate, but the good news is, you're not here to tolerate anymore. You're here to transform from a passive participant to an empowered observer, from emotional victim to mindset warrior. Now that you can recognize the signs of a toxic environment, you're ready for the next step. Because recognizing the storm is one thing. Learning how not to absorb it, that's where the real power begins. Chapter 2. You are not your environment. Your inner world is more powerful than your outer one. You can't control the weather, but you can carry your own sunshine. When you're surrounded by negativity day in and day out, it's easy to start thinking that the problem is you. You start questioning your worth. You feel off balance. You wake up tired, even after a full night's sleep. But let me make this clear. You are not your environment. Your coworkers don't define you. Your manager doesn't shape your identity. The office politics, the gossip, the mood in the building, that's not who you are. That's just where you are. Thermometer versus thermostat. Let's revisit one of the most important metaphors in this audiobook: thermometer versus thermostat. Most people are thermometers. They rise and fall with the emotional temperature of the room. If it's tense, they are tense. If others are stressed, they absorb that stress. If their coworkers are complaining, they start complaining too. But if you want to thrive, not just survive, in a negative environment, you must become the thermostat. You must be the one who sets the tone, not reflects it. A thermostat influences. A thermometer reacts. Your challenge is to stop being emotionally reactive and start becoming emotionally intentional. Identity armor. Separating where you are from who you are. Let me ask you this. If you work in a noisy place, does that make you loud? If you're around unhappy people, does that make you broken? If your boss is disrespectful, does that mean you're undeserving? Of course not. But the subconscious mind is always absorbing. If you don't consciously separate your identity from your environment, you start to carry the emotional weight of others as your own. You begin to think their thoughts, feel their moods, and live their limitations. That's why you must build what I call identity armor. Identity armor tools. Morning recentering rituals. Before you even walk into work, take 5 minutes to remind yourself, I control my mood. I decide how I respond. I am not here to absorb. I am here to shine. Use breathing, affirmations, or quick visualization to center yourself. Name your emotional state. Throughout the day, pause and ask, is this mine, or did I pick it up from someone else? Naming the emotion disarms its control over you. Mental separation phrase. Silently repeat, this is the environment. This is not me. Say it like a shield when negativity is heavy. Real-life example, the glass room technique. A young woman named Jade worked in a call center filled with tension, anger, and high turnover. People yelled. Managers micromanaged. The negativity was thick enough to choke on. Jade used to go home feeling crushed, until one day, she created a mental tool that changed everything. She called it the glass room technique. Every day before stepping into work, she imagined herself stepping into a glass room. She could see everything going on around her, but it couldn't touch her. She could hear the gossip, the rudeness, the complaints, but it bounced off the invisible walls. Inside her glass room, she controlled the lighting. She breathed deeply. She smiled. She kept a journal in her drawer and wrote 3 positive things every lunch break, no matter how small. People started asking her, "Why are you always so calm? How do you stay positive here?" She didn't leave the toxic environment right away, but her mindset stopped being affected by it. And in time, she became the most valuable person on the team. Your mindset is the real workplace. Here's the truth. Your real job is to manage your mindset. The tasks you perform, the meetings you attend, the people you deal with, that's your external job. But your internal job, the one that actually determines your energy, happiness, and growth, is how you interpret and respond to it all. You can be surrounded by mess and still think clearly. You can be surrounded by noise and still be centered. You can be surrounded by fear and still lead with courage. The best part? When you master this internal workplace, you can take that piece anywhere. Flip the script. Here's a powerful mindset shift. This job is not happening to me. It's happening for me. It's not here to break me. It's here to train me. Imagine if every annoying coworker was actually a teacher in emotional detachment. Imagine if every pressure-packed day was training you in focus under chaos. Imagine if this workplace is your spiritual gym, building your mental muscles. Would you still resent it? Or would you use it? Daily practice, the centering breath. Before your shift, during your lunch break, or even at your desk. Practice this. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds. Repeat 4 times. Silently say, "I am not the noise. I am the calm." Do this once a day, and you'll feel it. The shift, the power coming back into your body. The energy no longer leaking into people who don't deserve it. Final thought for Chapter 2. You are not here to absorb energy. You are here to project it. You are not a sponge. You are a lighthouse. Don't dim your light just because others are sitting in darkness. Don't collapse your energy to fit into the low vibrations around you. Rise. Shine. Regulate. Because when your inner world becomes stronger than your outer world, you don't just survive the chaos, you thrive in it. Chapter 3. Emotional Detachment Without Apathy. How to care without letting it consume you. Don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. There's a fine line between being a caring, empathetic person and becoming a dumping ground for everyone else's problems. In toxic environments, that line gets crossed far too often. You might be the dependable one, the kind one, the problem solver, the peacekeeper, the one who always shows up and goes the extra mile. But over time, if you're not careful, caring too much in the wrong way will start to cost you. You'll carry burdens that aren't yours. You'll feel responsible for everyone else's emotions. You'll start internalizing stress, chaos, and tension that doesn't belong to you. That's why in this chapter, you'll learn how to master a vital skill: emotional detachment, without becoming cold, closed off, or numb. This isn't about not caring. It's about caring better, with clarity, with boundaries, with power. The danger of absorbing. You've heard it before. Energy is contagious. That's true. But just because it's contagious doesn't mean you have to catch it. You're not obligated to absorb the emotions swirling around you. In fact, absorbing energy without filtering it is the quickest path to burnout, compassion fatigue, and resentment. When someone's anxious, do you suddenly feel tense? When someone's angry, do you get flustered? When someone vents, do you carry their emotion with you for hours? That's emotional absorption, and it's draining your peace. You don't have to shut yourself off from people, but you do need to create a filter between what's theirs and what's yours. Detachment versus apathy. Let's clear something up. Apathy says, "I don't care." Detachment says, "I care deeply, but I won't let it control me." Apathy numbs you. Detachment protects you. Apathy closes your heart. Detachment clears your mind. Apathy makes you cynical. Detachment makes you strategic. You're not here to become cold or hardened. You're here to become calm, composed, and intentional. The shield and mirror technique. Here's a simple mental model that can change your life. Visualize yourself wearing a mirrored shield. When people throw negativity, complaints, or chaos at you, it bounces off. Not violently, not rudely, just effortlessly. The mirror reflects, the shield protects. You see their energy, you understand it. You may even feel compassion for it, but you don't let it enter you. Their crisis does not become your crisis. Their mood does not become your mood. Their urgency does not become your identity. You reflect what's theirs. You protect what's yours. The power of observation. Emotionally detached people master one thing: observation. When something stressful happens at work, pause. Don't react. Just watch. Notice what's being said. Notice how your body feels. Notice the energy in the room. And then ask yourself, is this mine to carry? If the answer is no, release it. Silently say to yourself, not mine. You can care. You can help. You can listen. But you're not here to be a dumpster for emotional waste. Real-life example. Boundaries that save energy. Carlos worked in IT for a company where everyone constantly complained. Every day he'd hear things like, "This place is a joke. Why doesn't management ever listen? What's even the point?" He tried to be supportive at first, listening, agreeing, trying to be the good guy. But slowly, he noticed something. His motivation was gone. He stopped enjoying his work. He felt heavy every morning. So he made a shift. He decided to listen less and redirect more. When someone started complaining, he'd say, "That sounds frustrating. What are you going to do about it?" Or, "Yeah, some of that is above my pay grade. I just stay focused on what I can control." At first, people looked at him weird. Then something strange happened. They stopped dumping their negativity on him. He still cared. He was still friendly. But now, he was free. Detachment in action. A workplace mantra. Use this mantra as a shield. I can care without carrying. I can help without absorbing. I can see without sinking. Say it before meetings. Whisper it during difficult conversations. Let it become your new pattern. You'll notice something powerful. The more emotionally detached you become, the more present, peaceful, and effective you become. Practice. The emotional ownership filter. When someone brings you stress, ask yourself silently, is this emotion mine, or am I borrowing it? Can I support this person without internalizing their struggle? What's the most loving boundary I can set right now? You can't control how others behave, but you can absolutely control what you allow to live in your mind. Final thought for Chapter 3. Emotional detachment is an act of self-respect. It says, my peace matters. My energy matters. My mindset is not a public playground. You are allowed to protect your mental and emotional space. You are allowed to smile and walk away. You are allowed to love people without letting their storms soak your soul. Because in a negative environment, the strongest person isn't the one who fights back. It's the one who doesn't get pulled in. Chapter 4. Reframing difficult people as teachers. What if your worst coworker is your greatest growth opportunity? You will keep being tested by the same people in different bodies until you learn the lesson. Every workplace has them. The critic, the complainer, the arrogant boss, the manipulative coworker, the drama starter, the emotional vampire. They drain your energy. They push your buttons. They make you want to scream, shut down, or storm out. But what if you could flip the script? What if, instead of dreading these people, you began to see them as part of your personal development curriculum? Because here's the truth. Every difficult person is a mirror, a trigger, or a teacher. And sometimes, they're all three. Mirrors, triggers, and teachers. 1. The mirror. They reflect something within you. Maybe it's a fear you haven't dealt with. Maybe it's a behavior you subconsciously practice. Maybe it's a wound you haven't healed. Example: you're deeply irritated by someone who constantly seeks attention. Ask yourself, do I feel unseen in my life? Is this behavior triggering something I've buried? The mirror shows you what you need to work on, not to judge, but to understand. 2. The trigger. They expose a sensitive spot, an emotional bruise you haven't addressed. Triggers are gold because they show you exactly where your power is still fragile. Example: your boss micromanages you and it drives you crazy. Instead of reacting, ask, why does this bother me so deeply? Do I feel like I'm not trusted? Am I tying my worth to my freedom? Triggers reveal where you need healing and boundaries. 3. The teacher. They train your patience, boundaries, communication, or assertiveness. In other words, they make you stronger. Think of it like emotional weightlifting. The more resistance they give you, the stronger your inner muscles become, if you lift consciously. Your peace isn't tested by peace, it's tested by chaos. Flip the role, from victim to student. When you see yourself as a victim, you feel powerless. Why does this person always ruin my day? Why do they always target me? Why can't they just leave me alone? But when you shift into the student mindset, everything changes. You ask, what is this teaching me? What strength is this helping me build? How can I respond instead of react? Suddenly, the person who used to annoy you becomes your personal coach, training you in patience, awareness, or leadership. Real-life example: the ego trainer. Liz worked in a marketing department with a team leader who constantly took credit for her work. He'd present her ideas in meetings as if they were his own. For months, she boiled with resentment. Then she heard this phrase: the people who trigger your ego the most are often the ones who expose your unhealed need for validation. That hit hard. Liz realized she was tying her worth to recognition. She needed others to see her value to feel valuable. So she made a decision. I'm not working for applause anymore. I'm working for mastery. She started documenting her progress privately, finding peace in owning her growth, not being seen. Months later, she was promoted because she was too focused on growth to get lost in resentment. Difficult is not equal to dangerous. Let's be clear. Some people are toxic and abusive. If you're in a legitimately dangerous or traumatizing workplace, your job isn't to reframe, it's to get out safely. But many times, people aren't evil. They're just difficult. And in those cases, your response is where the gold lies. Every annoying personality is a chance to practice grace. Every passive-aggressive comment is a chance to hold your center. Every ego-filled rant is a chance to breathe deeper. Your growth doesn't always come from inspiration. Sometimes, it comes from irritation. Practice. The Reframe Journal. At the end of each workday, ask yourself, who frustrated me today? What did they trigger in me? What lesson or growth opportunity did I miss in that moment? How can I respond better next time? By reframing your reactions, you start to detach. You gain clarity. You reclaim your peace. And best of all, you start growing on purpose. Final thought for Chapter 4. Difficult people don't block your growth. They reveal where growth is needed. Don't waste time wishing they would change. Use that time to refine yourself. Because eventually, one of two things will happen. You'll outgrow the environment and move on. You'll outgrow the pattern and transform the energy around you. Either way, you win. Chapter 5. The Power of One Positive Presence. You don't need a title to lead, just energy that lifts. In a room full of darkness, even one small candle changes everything. Most people wait for their environment to improve before they feel good. They say, I'll be more positive when this place isn't so toxic. I'll work harder when my manager appreciates me. I'll smile more when people stop being so miserable. But here's the secret most never realize. You don't need your environment to be better before you feel better. You can change the atmosphere without changing your job. You can become the one positive presence that starts a ripple effect. You don't need approval, a leadership title, or a motivational speech from HR. All you need is the courage to be different in a place where everyone blends in. Energy doesn't lie. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt tension, even when no one was speaking? That's because energy is real, and it speaks louder than words. Now flip it. Have you ever been around someone whose energy just felt calming, uplifting, motivating? Maybe they didn't even say much, but when they walked in, the room felt lighter. That's the power of one person. And that one person can be you. Your brain on positivity. Science backs this up. Studies in neuroscience show that positive energy increases focus and creativity. Uplifted emotions boost problem-solving skills. Calm confidence reduces workplace conflict. When you radiate positivity, not fake smiles, but genuine grounded energy, you literally shift the chemistry of the space around you. Your energy either contributes to the chaos or corrects it. Micro actions that cause ripples. You don't need to shout. You don't need to perform. You just need to act with intention. Here are simple, small things that carry massive energy. Greet people by name. It sounds basic, but being seen is powerful. Start there. Thank someone for something they're used to being ignored for. Hey, I noticed you always refill the printer paper. Thanks for doing that. Stay calm when everyone else is anxious. Your stillness becomes a stabilizer. Refuse to gossip. When the office drama starts, don't join. Change the subject or excuse yourself. Radiate solutions instead of soaking in problems. When others say, "This place sucks," say, "Yeah, it's got its challenges, but we've handled worse." These aren't grand gestures. They're emotional leadership in action. Real-life example, the quiet catalyst. Brandon was a warehouse worker. The culture was toxic. People were late, angry, and always blaming someone else. Management barely communicated. Turnover was high. Brandon didn't have a leadership title, but he made a decision. I'm going to be the calm in the storm. Every morning, he showed up on time. He smiled. He brought his own Bluetooth speaker and played mellow instrumental music during breaks. He asked people how their families were. He encouraged new hires. At first, people laughed at him. "Why are you trying so hard? This place is a joke." But then, people started mirroring him. The mood changed. Productivity improved. Even the manager noticed. 6 months later, Brandon was promoted. Not because he lobbied for it, but because his energy led the room before his title did. You're an atmosphere creator. We often think of energy as something that happens to us. But in truth, you create energy. The way you walk into the room, the way you carry your body, the tone in your voice, the way you breathe when pressure builds, every small habit adds up to a powerful influence. You can be the thermostat. You can set the tone. You can lead with presence. Practice. 5-minute pre-shift energy set. Before you walk into work, or log in if you're remote, do this. Stand tall. Shoulders back. Breathe in confidence. Visualize a golden light surrounding you, a bubble of positive energy. Say to yourself, I bring the energy I want to feel. I lift the room just by being me. No matter what's going on, I remain centered, calm, and strong. This simple ritual sets the tone for your day. Final thought for Chapter 5. The workplace doesn't need another critic. It needs a catalyst. Let that be you. Don't underestimate the power of your presence. You may never get thanked for it. You may not even see the ripple you're creating. But trust this. Every time you choose calm over chaos, encouragement over complaint, growth over gossip, you shift something. You don't need everyone to change. You just need to keep showing up as the light. Because light never begs for attention. It simply shines. Chapter 6. Protecting your energy outside of work. Don't let the job follow you home. You can leave the building, but if you don't protect your energy, the building won't leave you. You've made it through another draining shift. You finally clock out. But somehow, the stress still clings to you. You replay conversations in your head. You rant on the drive home. You feel too tired to do anything, even the things that used to recharge you. And even worse, you're already dreading tomorrow. If this sounds familiar, don't worry. You're not alone. Toxic workplaces don't just affect your 9 to 5. They leak into your life. That's why in this chapter, you'll learn how to seal those leaks, to protect your energy so that your job doesn't consume your identity, your health, or your happiness. The silent burnout. Burnout doesn't always look like collapsing in a hospital bed. Sometimes it looks like constantly feeling tired, even after sleeping, being too exhausted to enjoy your evenings or weekends, emotionally snapping at your loved ones, losing motivation for your passions, feeling like life is just going through the motions. This is called low-grade burnout, and it often comes from chronic, unfiltered workplace stress that you never discharge. You carry it, you bottle it, and it builds until you start to feel like a ghost version of yourself. The energy audit. Where are your leaks? Before we protect your energy, let's find out where it's leaking. Ask yourself, what part of my workday leaves me feeling most drained? Do I carry that stress into my conversations at home? Am I using my free time to actually recharge or just numb out? Do I have a boundary between work mode and me mode? If your job is consuming more of your mental and emotional bandwidth than it should, it's time to build better energetic boundaries. Create a transition ritual. One of the most powerful things you can do to protect your energy is create a clear transition point between work and the rest of your life. This can be physical, emotional, or symbolic. Ideas for transition rituals. Change your clothes immediately when you get home. Take a 10-minute walk after your shift. No phone, just breathe. Play one song that shifts your mood and declare the day over. Journal for 5 minutes and leave the stress on paper. Take a hot shower and visualize washing off the day. Rituals train your nervous system to release stress and shift gears. Over time, your mind will learn. The workday is over. I don't have to carry this anymore. Work doesn't deserve 24/7 access. Technology makes it easy to stay on all the time, but just because you can check emails or Slack messages from home doesn't mean you should. If you're salaried, off the clock, or just trying to enjoy dinner with your family, you are allowed to disconnect. This isn't laziness, it's energetic hygiene. You need space between who you are at work and who you are at home, at rest and at peace. If your job gets the best of your energy, what's left for your dreams, your loved ones, or your soul? Protect your peace like it's your paycheck. because in many ways, it's even more valuable. Replace numbing with nourishing. After a draining workday, it's easy to slide into numbing habits, scrolling for hours, binging junk TV, overeating, drinking just to unwind. These things might bring temporary relief, but they don't recharge you. They don't restore your power. Instead, build a menu of nourishing habits, things that refill your soul, not just distract your mind. Recharging ideas. 20 minutes of movement. Walk, stretch, dance. A short, guided meditation or deep breathing. Listening to uplifting audio or music. Journaling 3 good things that happened. Creating art, reading, or building something. The more you nourish yourself after work, the more resilient, joyful, and focused you become during work. Real-life example, sacred evenings. Marcus worked in a high-stress sales office. Every night he would come home, eat fast food, and zone out in front of Netflix until he passed out, just to wake up and repeat the cycle. He started feeling empty, depressed, disconnected. Then one day he asked himself, what if I treated my evenings like they were sacred? He began turning off his phone at 7 p.m. He cooked his own food with music on. He journaled 1 paragraph before bed. He started reading again, just 5 pages a night. Within weeks, everything changed. Not his job, not his coworkers, but his energy, his confidence, his clarity. He stopped letting work rob him of himself. Practice. The evening energy reset. Each night, take 5 to 10 minutes to release the day. Try this. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply. Hold for 4. Exhale slowly. Say silently, I release what is not mine to carry. I reclaim my peace. I choose rest, not resentment. Repeat until you feel lighter. This simple practice prevents you from unconsciously dragging work stress into your sleep, relationships, and life. Final thought for Chapter 6. You're not just working for money, you're working for a life. So don't let work steal that life from you. Protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Let your home be a sanctuary. Let your mind be a safe space. Let your evenings restore your light. Because the stronger you become outside of work, the more untouchable you become inside of it. Chapter 7. Finding allies in the fog. You're not alone, but you might have to look differently. Even in the darkest workplace, there's someone else whispering, I can't take this either. When you're working in a negative, draining, or dysfunctional environment, it's easy to feel isolated. Like you're the only one who still believes in positivity, the only one who wants to grow, the only one who's not numbing themselves with sarcasm or complaining. But let me tell you something important. There are others like you. You just haven't found them yet. Even in the most toxic places, there are people, often hidden, often quiet, who are also searching for meaning. People who are tired of the gossip. People who want to rise above the nonsense. People who are waiting for someone like you to make the first move. In this chapter, you'll learn how to identify those allies, build quiet partnerships, and create micro-cultures of growth inside the fog. The illusion of isolation. Toxic environments thrive on one thing: disconnection. People don't trust each other. Everyone keeps their head down. There's fear in speaking up and no sense of unity. It creates the illusion that no one else cares, that you're the odd one out, that if you dare to be positive, People will mock you or shut you down. But the truth is, you're probably not the only light. You're just the first one to turn it on. And when you do, others see it, and they begin to glow too. How to spot the quiet good ones. Every toxic workplace has at least a few unseen warriors, the ones who do great work without bragging, avoid drama but are always kind, stay consistent even when no one's watching, are helpful without needing credit, keep their energy clean and stay under the radar. They may not be loud, they may not be flashy, but they're real, and they're the ones worth connecting with. How to build micro-alliances. You don't need a large tribe. You don't need a full-blown support group. You just need one or two solid people who get it. Here's how to start building quiet, powerful alliances. 1. Start small. Look for subtle signals. Notice who doesn't gossip, who seems calm, who shows up on time, who gives a genuine good morning. That's your invitation. 2. Compliment consistency. People don't get praised enough. So when you notice someone doing solid work or keeping a good attitude, tell them, "Hey, I've noticed you always handle things with calm. That's rare around here. Respect." Watch their face light up. They might even say, "You too, actually." Boom. Connection made. 3. Find common ground beyond work. Ask about a hobby, a goal, a book, anything non-toxic. Create a little bubble of realness that exists outside the dysfunction of the job. This is how you build a micro-culture of growth, 2 or 3 people who encourage each other in small, quiet ways that keep the fire alive. Real-life example, the quiet rebellion. Renee worked in a government office where negativity was the norm. People joked about being trapped, managers played favorites, and most employees were just counting the years to retirement. Renee refused to settle, but she also didn't want to cause a scene. So she found one person, James, who always nodded at her in meetings, always seemed calm. She invited him to grab lunch one day. They talked books, dreams, mindsets. Over time, they added 2 more coworkers who felt the same. They called themselves the Quiet Rebellion. No big mission, no slogans, just respect, encouragement, and small acts of elevation. They supported each other. They celebrated wins no one else noticed. And slowly, that corner of the office changed. They didn't change the entire system, but they changed their experience inside of it. Remember, you're not recruiting, you're revealing. You don't need to fix other people. You don't need to be the office cheerleader. You don't need to change the culture overnight. You're simply revealing to others, "Hey, there's another way to be here. You in?" Some will mock it, some will ignore it, but a few will lean in. And those few, they're gold. Practice. The inner circle list. This week, pay attention to who feels safe to talk to, who uplifts your energy, even slightly, who you might want to connect with more. Then choose just one person to talk to more intentionally. Don't overthink it. Just reach out. Compliment something. Ask a question. Share a win. See what happens. Final thought for Chapter 7. You weren't meant to go through this alone, even if the environment is dark, even if the culture is broken, even if no one else has stepped up yet. You can find your tribe, or build one. You can create your own micro-environment inside the chaos. You can light a match and discover others holding candles. Because one voice of hope breaks the silence. One calm presence balances the noise. And one quiet alliance makes the workplace feel human again. Chapter 8. Reclaiming your purpose amid the noise. Why you're here matters more than where you are. When you lose your why, you lose your way. One of the greatest dangers of a negative environment isn't just the stress, it's the slow erosion of purpose. You start strong, maybe even excited, motivated to contribute. But over time, as the noise gets louder, gossip, burnout, micromanagement, dysfunction, your deeper why starts to fade. What once felt meaningful now feels mechanical. What once gave you energy now just takes it. You start asking, why am I even doing this? And that question is exactly where your power begins. In this chapter, you'll learn how to reclaim your purpose, even in a job you don't love, even when no one around you seems to care. Because purpose isn't found in the environment. Purpose is something you bring to the environment. The myth of purpose-driven jobs. Let's clear up a big misconception. You don't need to have your dream job in order to live a meaningful, purpose-driven life. Yes, some people are doctors, teachers, artists, creators, change makers. But most people? They're working normal jobs: logistics, retail, administrator, warehouses, service. That doesn't mean you're off purpose. It means your purpose might look different. And that's okay. You don't have to love the job, but you can love the way you show up inside of it. Shift from passion to intention. We're often told to follow our passion, but in negative environments, passion gets buried fast. So instead, focus on intention. You may not be passionate about your job, but you can set an intention to grow your discipline. You can strengthen your communication. You can build emotional resilience. You can learn patience, self-leadership, boundaries. Your job may not fuel your soul, but it can sharpen your sword. If nothing else, this job is your training ground. Redefine your why. Let's reconnect to your why. Not your employer's mission statement, your personal why. Ask yourself, why did I take this job in the first place? What am I learning here that I didn't know before? What am I building within myself that I'll take into the next chapter of my life? How can I use this role to grow, even if I don't love it? If the only answer is to pay the bills, that's okay too. But even that deserves a noble frame. I'm funding my freedom. I'm building my future. I'm practicing mental strength until my next level shows up. Turn your role into a mission. Real-life example. Purpose in the background. Kendra worked in data entry. It was repetitive, lonely, not glamorous. Most people coasted through the day doing the bare minimum. Kendra reframed it. She said, I may not change the world here, but I can sharpen my mind. I can organize information like a pro. I can learn systems. I can build focus. She treated every shift as a personal lab. She timed herself, tracked improvements, created new techniques to stay focused. Within 8 months, she didn't just get promoted. She discovered a passion for process optimization. She now consults other teams to make them more efficient. Her dream job didn't show up. She turned a dry job into her dream skill set. Anchor to something bigger than the job. Sometimes your purpose isn't in the job. It's what the job makes possible. Funding your child's education, saving for a business, paying off debt, learning emotional intelligence, building the grit you'll need later. Purpose doesn't have to be poetic. Sometimes, Purpose is practical. So anchor to that. When the noise gets loud, when the day feels long, remind yourself, this is temporary, but what I'm building because of it is lasting. Practice. The 5-minute purpose reset. At the start of your shift, take 5 minutes to breathe and reconnect with your why. Close your eyes. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Say silently, I bring purpose with me. I choose how I show up. I'm not here to survive. I'm here to build strength. Repeat until your energy lifts. Final thought for Chapter 8. You are not working for just a paycheck. You are working for growth, discipline, perspective, a better future, a deeper understanding of yourself. You're not here by accident, and you're not stuck. You're sharpening. So reclaim your why. Let it carry you through the noise, and watch how even the worst environments can become your greatest preparation. Chapter 9. When to adapt and when to leave. Know when it's a test and when it's a trap. Not every storm is meant to be weathered. Some are warnings to change course. You've been doing the work. You've shifted your mindset. You've learned how to stay calm, protect your energy, and bring positivity to your space. But even so, there comes a time when the question is no longer, how do I survive this? It becomes, should I even be here anymore? This chapter isn't about quitting when things get tough. It's about wisely discerning. Is this situation growing you or draining you beyond repair? Is this environment stretching you or slowly shrinking you? Let's break it down, because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away with your power intact. The 2 roads, adapt or exit. Life will give you both. Some environments are your gym, meant to test you, shape you, sharpen you. Other environments are your anchor, meant to hold you down, keep you small, drain your spirit. And the tricky part? They often look the same on the outside, but the difference is internal. Let's explore the signs. Signs you're in a growth environment, even if it's tough. You're challenged, but you're learning. You're tired, but you still see purpose. You have at least one person who supports your growth. You feel progress, even if slow. You leave work with lessons, not just resentment. In these cases, adaptation makes sense. You're being prepared for your next level. These environments are like fire. They burn, but they also purify. Signs you're in a soul-sucking trap. No matter how hard you try, nothing changes. Your mental, emotional, and even physical health is declining. You've tried to grow, but the environment punishes you for it. You're silenced, gaslighted, or constantly disrespected. You feel numb, hopeless, like a dimmed version of who you used to be. This is when loyalty turns into self-abandonment. Staying is no longer a lesson. It's a loss. The fear of leaving. Many people stay in toxic jobs far too long, not because they love it, but because they're scared. Scared of the unknown, starting over, financial instability, failing, what people will say. These fears are valid, but they are not reasons to stay stuck. Your mental health, your peace, your self-respect are worth more than a paycheck. And when you walk away with clarity, you're not running, you're rising. Real-life example, the conscious exit. Damon was a restaurant manager for 6 years. He loved the team, but the ownership changed. Suddenly, the culture turned toxic. No support. verbal abuse, constant turnover. He tried to fix it. He led with positivity. He created systems. But over time, the toxicity outgrew his optimism. He realized, this is no longer my mission. It's my cage. So he created an exit plan, cut expenses, built a side hustle, sent resumes every morning. 3 months later, he left. With peace, with no resentment. Now, he manages a wellness cafe that matches his values, and his peace has never been stronger. How to leave with power, not panic. If you're considering leaving, do it consciously. Here's how. 1. Get clear on the why. Why are you leaving? Is it about escape or expansion? 2. Create a plan. Set a realistic timeline. Build savings. Explore other opportunities quietly. 3. Document your wins. Before you go, make sure you've documented the skills, wins, and progress you made. This boosts confidence and helps with job interviews. 4. Don't burn bridges, but don't build them alone. You owe respect. You don't owe explanation. Exit professionally, but protect your truth. 5. Leave emotionally before you leave physically. Start emotionally detaching. Shift your identity. Your soul leaves before your body does. Practice the inner compass check-in. Ask yourself, if I stayed here another year, who would I become? If I left, what could I step into that I've been denying? Am I adapting, or am I abandoning myself? What would I tell someone I love if they were in this exact situation? Answer honestly. Your soul already knows. Final thought for Chapter 9. Not every battle is yours to fight. You're not weak for leaving. You're not quitting on growth. You're choosing a new soil to grow deeper roots. When the flower doesn't bloom, you don't fix the flower. You change the soil. So, if it's time to go, go with grace. Go with strength. Go with lessons in your heart and light still in your eyes. And trust this, leaving a place that's killing your spirit is the ultimate act of self-leadership. Chapter 10. Becoming a beacon. Be the light you wish existed in that workplace. Some people curse the darkness, others light a candle, but the rare ones, they become the fire. You've made it through gossip, negativity, burnout. You've learned to set boundaries, protect your peace, reclaim your purpose. You've navigated the fog, and, at times, stood completely alone. But now, something new begins. You're no longer surviving. You're leading, whether you realize it or not. In this final chapter, we shift the focus outward, not to change others, not to fix the culture, but to embody the energy that transforms spaces just by existing within them. Because even in the most toxic workplace, one grounded, powerful, positive person can change everything. You are already a leader. You don't need a title. You don't need permission. You don't need followers. If you've protected your mindset, built emotional strength, stayed kind in chaos, grown through adversity, then guess what? You are leading by example. People are watching. They're noticing how you stay calm, how you don't engage in drama, how you radiate clarity even when everything around you feels unclear. They may never say it out loud, but your presence is proof that another way is possible. What a beacon actually looks like. Being a beacon doesn't mean being loud, bossy, or controlling. It means embodying light in a place of darkness. Traits of a beacon. Neutral in conflict, you don't escalate chaos. Grounded under pressure, your emotions are stable. Genuine in praise, you celebrate others without agenda. Present in the moment, you listen without judgment. Invisible strength, you're consistent without needing attention. You don't need to announce your energy, you carry it. Real-life example, the office whisperer. Alex worked at a small financial firm full of pressure and passive-aggressive managers. Most people were on edge. Turnover was high. But Alex wasn't shaken. He wasn't loud or preachy. He just operated differently. He spoke with kindness. He diffused tense conversations with humor. He remembered birthdays. He offered to help, even when no one asked. Eventually, people came to him, not for job help, but for peace. "Hey, how do you stay so calm?" "You don't seem stressed. What's your secret?" "Man, I feel better after talking to you." Alex didn't change the company, but he changed the experience of the people around him. He became a lighthouse, without ever saying the word light. Practice. Your beacon blueprint. Ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to bring into this space daily? What would it look like to embody that energy in my tone, face, posture, and pace? How can I leave people better than I found them, even if it's just with a smile? Then, do that. No performance, no approval, just embodied presence. Create a legacy in the least expected place. Here's the twist. Most people try to build a legacy after they leave. But you can build yours right now, by being the person others think of when they say, "I don't know how I would have made it through this job without them." Your strength, your words, your calm, your quiet fire. It becomes part of the blueprint others follow after you're gone. You won't always get applause for it. But one day, someone will think of you and choose to be better, simply because you showed them how. Final thought for Chapter 10. You're not just surviving a toxic environment. You're transforming it by transforming yourself first. Your power isn't in what you say. It's in how you show up. So keep showing up with grace, grit, clarity, kindness, conviction. Be the reminder that light still exists. Be the reason someone else doesn't quit. Be the proof that mindset is more powerful than circumstance. You are not just a worker, you are a beacon, and you were built for this. Conclusion: the light within. You are the constant. Everything else is just weather. The storm doesn't last forever, but the strength you build inside of it does. You've just walked through 10 chapters of clarity, courage, and personal power. You've learned how to recognize a toxic environment, separate your identity from your surroundings, master emotional detachment, reframe difficult people, become a positive presence, protect your energy after hours, build quiet alliances, reclaim your purpose, know when to stay or go, and finally, become a beacon for others. This audiobook wasn't about fixing your workplace. It was about fortifying your mindset. Because the truth is, environments change, jobs come and go, bosses get replaced, teams get shuffled. But the one thing you take with you everywhere is you. Your mind is your real workplace. Whether you stay in your current job or move on to something new, what you've built here, the mental tools, emotional awareness, and personal leadership, will serve you for life. You'll walk into future jobs differently. You'll carry yourself with more conviction. You'll handle pressure with poise. You'll inspire others without needing a title. Because you don't just react anymore. You respond. You don't just endure. You elevate. A quick recap of your power tools. Let's anchor the key lessons one last time. Awareness helps you name the environment before it names you. Identity armor keeps you from absorbing what isn't yours. Emotional detachment protects your empathy. Difficult people are your curriculum. One positive presence can shift an entire room. Post-work rituals prevent burnout from following you home. Allies in the fog remind you that you're not alone. Purpose is something you bring with you, not something the job gives you. Exit with strength when the lesson is over. And your light? It's not here to be hidden. It's here to lead. Your final mindset shift. Let this be your mantra going forward. No matter where I work, I bring clarity. I bring calm. I bring power. The chaos does not control me. I set the tone. I lead myself. And I rise, even here. You're not at the mercy of your job. You're not defined by your coworkers. You're not waiting for the environment to get better. You are the environment. You are the shift. And when you walk out of that workplace for the final time, whether it's today or years from now, you won't leave bitter. You'll leave built. Final words. Thank you for investing your time, energy, and trust into this audiobook. It's more than words. It's a guide, a mirror, a map. And now, it's yours to live. So whether you stay, grow, or go, keep your peace, guard your light, and walk boldly in the knowledge that you were never meant to just survive. You were meant to thrive, even in the chaos.